What's up, guys? So I've been doing something other than foilers. So people have been asking questions about the truck. I got a little time on my hands as I'm trying not to go, travel too much or anything because of the coronavirus. So did some mods to it. Started at the front. I did the Black Dog off-road front bumper. As you can see, I've already hit a couple things with it and it's holding up well. One of the main reasons I did it is because the truck gets parked here and the foilers get parked in here, and I frequently back into the truck. So my other bumper had some scratches on it and stuff. This side piece had some scratches down here. So the bumper really just hit a bunch of scratches, and now I don't have to worry about it anymore. I drilled the holes to put the parking sensors in here, which was a pain in the ass, 4 1-inch holes. Took some tweaking of turning the parking sensors to get them working right, but they're all working good. Is it really worth having? Probably not, but I do use them occasionally in like parking garages at the airport to make sure I'm all the way in the spot. So it's kind of nice. And they're already there, so we might as well maintain them. I did order some rock lights for down here. Not really rock lights. I ordered some LED long-range projector cubes to take place in my fog lights because the wiring's already there, so I might as well do it. And I ordered the connectors that will plug into the factory harness and adapt it to the back of the lights. So that's that. Then I did these Nitto AT Terra Grapplers G2. These are 295 by 70 by 18. If you do the math, that's about a 34.5, 34.6. If you actually measure them, when I bought them at the tire store, we put some other 35s on here first to try it, but they're the same height as a standard 35, but they're 11.5 wide instead of a 12.5 wide, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to go any wider than 11.5 on the stock 8.5-inch wheels. Still has a nice flat profile, still drives really. I did shop a ton of different tires, and in the end I went with the Terra Grapplers because they're the only tire that's between a 34 and a 35 for my 18-inch wheels that was not 10-ply. These are P-rated tires. They're not stupid heavy. They're not stupid stiff sidewall. I don't need it. It's a 1500. It only tows sometimes. I wanted a nice, smooth, flexible tire that wasn't too heavy or rough, and that's the only one out there. Really good. It's an inch wider than stock, and I don't know. Stock's about a 32, so 3 inches taller than the stock. Stock's a little shy of 32. So it cleared them just barely stock. They rubbed a little bit right here, not even enough to make a mark on the passenger side. On the driver's side, you can see that they did rub just barely. It's hardly noticeable. You might be able to see it right there in that corner where it rubbed. So to fix that, I did a lift kit. You can see it up in here if I hold the bonus right. Looks like a wheel spacer. It's tucked in there completely. You can't even see it. It's really clean. You can tell that those bolts aren't factory. It's a Strut Top Spacer. To install that, basically you have to bust the upper ball joint, drop it all the way down, remove the strut, bolt it on top, take the strut and spin it 180 degrees, hold the base in the vise and spin the top. That way the bolt pattern lines up. And then once all that's done, to do it right, you need to add a limiting strap, which I'm going to do. I just ordered that stuff. I ordered a limit strap shackle to go in this bolt hole, and then I'm gonna drill a hole right here on the inside of this, and it'll be a nice limiting strap. So I'll make a video when I do that. It's fine for street use right now, and it actually doesn't hurt anything and has a little stopper, but I want the ability to ball hot if I need to, so I'm gonna put limiting straps. So that's how I lifted the front. There's no rubbing at all anymore, so that's good to go. The rear, I just did the Bilstein 5100s. Let me see them better on that side. And the Ready Lift 2.25-inch tapered block. It's a really nice block kit, really good U-bolts. It's got the anti-rotation ears on it and everything. There's the Bilstein. The reason I did the Bilsteins was because I wanted a shock that was longer to go with the block, but mostly because this truck bounced pretty bad when towing. The Bilsteins are a lot better shock than the twin tube Z71 shocks it comes with. So it's got 2.25 inches in lift in the rear and 2 3/4 inches lift in the front. I say 2 3/4 because that's how it measured. So if you take a lift kit made for a pre-2019, which is almost all of them, you put it on a 2019, it gives you a 1/4 inch more lift because the bottom control arm is a little thicker the way it works out. Also, it wasn't a direct bolt on. I had to trim the factory studs because they stuck up too far. I'll show you a picture of that right now. And I also had to use different nuts. The factory nuts didn't fit down in the spacer. I'll show you a picture of that too. So it wasn't a completely easy install there, but it was very cheap. Front spacer is $35. The rear block kit's like $150. But I wanted the nice blocks that had the anti-rotation ears and kind of hugged the axle. This truck did not use a factory block like some Chevys do, so it's pretty easy install. You can see how it kind of wraps around it, called anti-rotation or whatever. The shocks I use are good for up to a 2-inch lift, and because of that, they're also good for stock, so I didn't have to mess with the rear bump stops at all. And the front, the bump stop's part of the strut, so by dropping the strut down, you also drop the bump stop automatically. So all I got to do really finish up with the limiting strap on the front. I also got rid of the stock floorboards. They look cool, but they weren't very practical because they stopped right here, and I like to be able to stand on my floorboard and get in the bed, strapping things down, get in the truck box. These are pretty cheap. They're the I-board floorboards. They're the only ones that are out right now for 2019-2020 Silverado that are wheel-to-wheel, full-length floorboards. Hopefully AMP Research will make me some full-length electric ones eventually. But for now, those look pretty good. They're very functional, and they stick out far. So they're real functional. They'll actually protect the truck from people's doors and stuff like that. I could adjust them out farther if I wanted to, but I've got them adjusted all the way in. The back part's cantilevered pretty far from this mount. There's nothing really to mount back here, but it has this big bracket to reinforce it. And with me on it, I'm about 200 pounds. It bends just a little bit, but not enough to worry about. It's not actually gonna hurt anything. Doesn't feel that great, but you know, whatever. But overall, really happy. This truck's done really good. It's finally starting to get broken in. So you got a few scratches and stuff doing some off-roading. So, you know, I figured I wanted to do something. I was getting a little bored of it. Motor's great. Freaking love the 6.2. Love the 10-speed. And we're going to see how much all this affects gas mileage, right? Because the whole point of this front bumper that hung down really low was for gas mileage, and that's gone now. Bigger tires can hurt gas mileage, et cetera, whatever. So we'll see how much gas mileage I lose. I was getting 21, 22, cruising on the highway at 70, which is pretty amazing for a 6.2 liter, you know, 400, whatever, 20, 30 horsepower V8 four-wheel drive. The skid plate, you can order with a bunch of options. I have the top hoop, but I didn't really like it, so I didn't put it on. But I also got this really sweet skid plate with it, which ties all the way from here underneath and looks really good. Ties into my aluminum Z71 skid plate. So it's much more off-road capable now. It's got about twice the ground clearance it used to have. The tires, you know, you go 4 inches in tire size, that gives you 2 inches more lift, and then 3-inch lift in the front. So front's got a lot more clearance in the back, obviously, because it's independent, so the front lift actually gives you more clearance. I like how it came out. I didn't want to go too high on the front. It looks great unloaded like that, but as soon as you put anything in the bed, you look like a bitch. So I lifted a little higher in the back than the front. I leveled it maybe half an inch, but it's still higher in the back than the front, and that's how a truck should be, because trucks are made to have weight in the bed or be towing. If you're not doing that, you don't need a truck. Notice is, so this upper control arm bottoms out on this little bracket right here. In stock, it didn't really hit it. Now, once you put a strut spacer in here, which you can see if I hold the phone down here, it's a big wheel spacer looking thing on top. At full down travel, that will hit. The reason that hits is to protect your upper ball joint from maxing out. So you can see the angle right now is not bad. It's happy. It's sitting still, and there is a good bit of down travel before it hits that bracket. Chevrolet double cab, 2019, 2020. I-board floorboards. So I went with them because they're the only full-length floorboards you can get for this truck. They look cool. They're welded tube. They're very heavy duty, very stout. These are a little flimsy because they're aluminum. No traction. When that's wet, that's pretty slippery. So I could have put some grip tape, but I didn't like that they weren't full length. So I'm going to get rid of them. If anyone wants these, let me know. Make a good deal. Just installed it. It took me about 2.5 hours. Probably took me an hour and a half just to mount my parking sensors in it. I had to drill 4 1-inch holes and then run all the wires. And yeah, so it's a sweet bumper, really well made, fits perfect, doesn't touch the plastics or anything like that, and it totally changes the look at the front of the truck. It doesn't look like a stupid ass, you know, Tron truck anymore. It looks like a regular freaking Chevy. The stock bumper hung down about 8 inches lower, so you can see that the tow hooks are now hanging out beneath the bumper. I have this, which was supposed to be a 2.5-inch lift as well. Both of these lift kits, the one on top looks like a wheel spacer. Here's a picture of it. Both of these lifts are designed for the older Chevys, but they say they're compatible. They're not. This one, at full down travel, when you turn, your CV boot will hit the bottom of the strut because this brings the bottom of the strut up so much. It goes underneath the strut, so your CV boots will hit this. So this is not compatible with the 2019-2020.